You're listening to Sit, Talk, and Listen podcast with your hosts, Payroll Rob and Zadie Bauer.
It's me. It's us. It's me. It's us. It's you. We're back.
1 month later.
1 month to the day. Today being May 8th, 2024. Our last podcast episode being April 8th, 2024, the day of the eclipse. A lot has happened.
The eclipse was the last episode?
The eclipse was the last episode, yes. Yep.
Wow.
So a lot has happened since then. A lot to catch up on, Xavier. What do you think? What's the biggest thing that's happened in the last 4 weeks for you? Or maybe not. Let's not say for you specifically.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I think the lead has to be K-Dot and Drake.
Little Kendrick Drake beef.
I mean,
that's the lead.
I
mean,
think
that's dominating people's minds right now.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, I'm intrigued. I've listened to a lot of the songs, but I
especially
haven't dived
about
in
4
deep.
or 5 days ago.
Oh,
but if
yeah.
you ask, like, since the last time we've done this, I think that was the biggest thing. I mean, it's been huge because I think before, like, the last time we recorded, like, everything had started with the Kendrick Surreal original diss on kind of J. Cole and Drake.
Right.
On like that on the Metro beat with Future.
That's right. And then J. Cole was like, "I'm good. I'm gonna bow out of this."
J. Cole responded and then retracted the response.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And took it off. Like,
yeah.
so that's happened. And then,
but we talked about J. Cole taking it off. I'm pretty sure that
did
had. I'm pretty sure that already happened. I
don't think so.
You sure?
Yeah.
Well, if
we
you
can
say
go
so.
back and listen, but I do know
it's on record
that what seemed to be starting off as a friendly competition in hip hop has turned into allegations of wife beating and pedophilia and everything in between. So it's gotten fucking nuts.
No punches are being held, that's for sure. I mean, at least, like I said, from what I'm hearing, like I've only listened. I don't know if I've listened to all the songs. I'm pretty sure I have. I've listened to Drake's 7-minute song. I've listened to
Meet the Grams.
Yeah, that's Drake's.
No, the one where Kendrick basically like announces that Drake was hiding a daughter that's 11 years old.
Yeah, but then people are like, "Oh, that was false information to see if he would take it, and he bid on it." Is that real? Like he doesn't have a daughter?
I think he does have a daughter. I think it's like I
We're
think
being
that's him trying to
double-spun?
save face. But I mean, if that's not the number one, like, are we talking pop culture? Because I think that has to be number one of things that have happened since.
Well, just newsworthy, stuff. What's big?
And I guess
on?
in my circle that is that. But I mean, I don't know. Like,
I mean,
as a fan of both, are you on a side?
I mean, I am on a side. I am on Team Kendrick.
Okay,
100%.
You know, Matt's been waiting for this moment. Our friend Matt in Indiana
couldn't be happier. Finally, Drake's getting all the pedophilia attention that Matt so wished that he would get.
Well, Drake responded to that in his latest retort, like basically saying like, "I'm too famous to be a pedophile." And
was it a response, or I heard he was like tried to get ahead of it and do like the B Rabbit move, where he was like,
"No, it was a response."
Okay, where he's like, "Yeah, people say I'm a pedophile, but I ain't." Basically,
no, that was in response to Kendrick calling him a pedophile. Okay. I mean, like Kendrick had like a catchy hook where he said, you know, he struck a chord and it's probably A minor.
That was great, yeah.
But that's not
probably
a chord.
A minor. A minor is a chord.
Wouldn't be a note.
No, there's an A flat and there's an A sharp.
And then somebody said it's deeper because A minor.
And he's saying it in A minor
there's no black
too,
keys in A minor. And basically calling Drake.
Yeah, now I wonder, if all that, I mean, we know that it lines up, but if in saying that Kendrick also playing like it's got no black keys and he's getting it at a pedophile and I'm singing it in a minor chord, like I think it just got lucky that a minor chord doesn't have any black keys in it.
Yeah, I do think that like a lot of the things I'm reading on Reddit gives Kendrick like, oh my God, Kendrick
Look
with a
how deep
quadruple.
this is.
Yes, and I'm like, I don't know if he's really.
Like, I mean, if you can extrapolate that from it, I guess then maybe that is.
But I do agree with you. I think some of it is like,
I don't know that was his true intention, like as he wrote it. Like, I mean, I think he was like, oh, this works on a few different levels, but then it worked on even more levels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, I don't think he thought, like, okay, what is a perfect line to hit him with all these things? It just, like, I think it just happened to line up. But what else has happened? I mean, so much stuff. In my own personal life, my sister got married last weekend, so congrats to Nick and Sarah.
Big congrats, big ups.
Yeah, so that
Long time coming.
Yeah, they've been together for over 8 years.
8 years. Finally getting the wedding out the way.
Yeah, so like my sister was 18 when they started dating. She's about to be 27.
Yeah, that's crazy. Holy hell. Time flies.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was thinking on the way out here actually to record. I think TMA had brought something up that happened back like in 2014, which was 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Jesus, 2014 was 10 years ago. Like, you know,
a decade, been a full decade.
I had moved to Indiana 12 years ago at this point.
Yep. Yeah. And time flies.
Like, that is wild.
When you start to have to bow down to the man and pay bills.
I hate it, dude.
Giving your life away.
Oh, my goodness.
It is what it is.
So we need to start recording this more than once a month. Hopefully get some sponsorships because
Well, what we need is we need help from the people. Our true fans need to go out and hit the streets.
GoFundMe.
And not just GoFundMe. We're going to do that. But we need them.
No, we're not. No handouts.
They need to be our guerrilla marketing team. We got to build this from the ground up, and we're not going to do it ourselves. We need other people to do it for us.
I just hate marketing. It's just so.
That's why other people are going to do it for us.
I think I downloaded TikTok for the first time since we recorded last, or maybe just to, I've thought about dabbling and getting to the creative field of that. I've intended on, trying to start for about a month now, but it's like, gosh, I still haven't brought myself to do it.
Yeah.
And it just like everything else, I drag my feet through the mud.
I mean, I don't know, man. The TikTok thing, like I've dipped the toe in the water, if you will, right? Like I had downloaded it for the first time probably like half a year ago, 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that. And I'm like, all right, this is what everybody says is the thing you got to do to get through to people or whatever, make any connections, do creative things. So I get on there and I made like a little drumming video, 30 seconds, right? Me just beating on some drums, playing some drums. The first video I made, maybe that wasn't drums. It might have been a little piano thing, actually. It was like, name this song, and it was like I played a thing, and it had like 6,000 views. And then I posted like 4 more videos after that, and those never reached like 100. And I'm like, okay, that seems planned. Like they try to suck you in by giving your first video you post a lot of exposure, and then every video after that, you're just a regular piece of shit in the algorithm.
Well, if it gets to 6,000 views and you get, a couple hundred of those people to like it, then hopefully like that comes up in their algorithm next time you post. But if you have to post.
That's the thing is you got to feed it like every day, in my understanding of how you make a successful TikTok, whatever page, any social media page, they boost you for being active, every day or twice a day, 3 times a day. The more they get from you, the more they'll put you out there. And that's just anything where it's free, you're the product, right? So they rely on you to build content for their websites and their apps and their things. So then, I don't know. I 6 months ago, whenever I was getting in, like I said, did the TikTok for a second, I was like, And I didn't spend like any time watching them. Like I tell you, like I'd start to scroll through and watch them, and I'd watch like 5 seconds, and be like, this is boring, or this is inaccurate. Go on. Like too many times, I'm like, this is not hitting what I'm wanting. And I don't care to like search for things. There's nothing that I'm like, oh, well, what's going on in this realm? I don't know.
I've tried to like search certain things just to curate my algorithm a little better, because YouTube, I've been on it for so long that, I mean, like really my algorithm on there, like they do know me pretty well.
They feed you the gold.
But TikTok, like right now, currently every single video is like Drake and Kendrick beef stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, man, like it's not my whole world right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's been, I can't even count the number of times. Like, it's a low number, seriously, of videos that I watched all the way through, and I couldn't even tell you what the content was about on those. Like, it just didn't. It wasn't doing it for me in the time that I gave it. So then I got rid of it for a while. And then like 2 months ago, I re-downloaded it. I didn't post any videos yet, but I was like, maybe I'll just see if I get this algorithm to work for me. Still, I just haven't committed any time to watching any videos or like searching for things that I care to watch videos on. So maybe it's just like I'm not giving it a fair shake or whatever. But to this point, it's just not for me. It's just hard for me. Like, a lot of times when I'm spending time fucking around on my phone, like, I want to read. I like reading something because I can take my time and I can digest it and kind of really know, what I'm looking at, or whatever, right? But if it's like videos, I like them so often, but I just can't sit and watch a bunch of videos and not know like what the outcome of that video is. Like, if I've invested 3 minutes in a video and it turns out to be something stupid or wrong or inaccurate or just downright dumb, I'm like, well, that was a waste of time, and then I end up just shutting it off.
So that's what I've noticed too with TikTok is like there'll be like 4 parts to it, and I'll have to like click on the username, go like scroll through from like when the original video was, and then hopefully like that happens all the time. That right there just turns me off to be like, all right, well, I'm done with this page. It takes too much time for me to like navigate it or whatever. Yeah, not navigate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's
the world we got to live in, though.
Yeah.
Unless we get the people on it. We need our fans, our huge fan base that we have out there on the streets, talking to people, shaking hands, kissing babies for us.
Who are these people?
All of our fans.
Lydia?
I don't know.
We haven't name dropped her yet, but you said that she's a fan, so.
She's one of our many fans. Yeah. Yes. Lydia, God love her. I love her.
Just drop.
So she's going to be mobilizing the army in Austin for us, I imagine. So
we have a global reach.
I can only assume,
and at least a nationwide, from Indiana to Austin to where California.
No, Vegas, baby.
Vegas.
We're all over the map.
We need some northern representation, but
and I'm sure we have tons of pilots that listen too. So they're flying. There are people listening to us in the skies.
But yeah, we won't have any Canadian fans after you put your line in the sand and you went against Drake.
So that just means that
I don't think you can like Drake anymore if you're going to take Kendrick's. Like it's not like a.
Well, here's the thing: Drake hasn't made any music that caught my ear.
But he was
in a lot of years.
I don't want to say an influence to you, but you were you were a pretty big fan.
I enjoyed a lot of his catalog for a while there. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
You're out like the.
I'm out like what? I mean, I can still listen to those old Drake songs and be like, yeah, this makes me feel the same things that I felt when I first heard this song.
You haven't been reading the internet then, huh? You gotta choose up.
Reading the internet then, huh?
Evidently, you gotta choose up in this. It's all that's what
is
happens
that how
on the internet.
Nowadays?
It's like
it's all everything is all or nothing.
Everything's black and white. Like,
yeah, you can't be in two camps at once or whatever, which is weird.
100%. So what else has happened? I mean, there's been so much. Isn't one of those where there's been so much stuff that happens now? It's kind of hard to think about.
I know. I was telling you that I need to start chalking down notes, writing down some notes just to remember the things that I'm like, oh, you know what? I meant to talk to Xavier about that.
Yeah, I know, because
the Cardinals suck,
dude. Next, it's so bad. And then like our best, the only hitter we even have just broke his wrist getting too close to.
Now, do you blame him or do you blame the hitter? Because apparently that same hitter has had a lot of instances of catcher's interference. So obviously he stands back in the box. I
still blame Contreras because I think he's back in the box, but he's still in the box.
Yeah.
And I think that this new baseball, and they want like catchers to concentrate more on framing and stuff and getting closer to the plate.
It is crazy how
Tim McCurdy was just talking about that.
We're rising in catcher interference. Even in just the last 3 years, it's been like doubling and doubling and doubling. what was it for like the whole year? There was 21 in like 2014, and we're already on pace to go to like over 100 catcher interference.
Over
calls this
130.
year. Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Like, does it really give that much of an advantage to have them be that close to the plate? Like, you're giving a guy a free base just by trying to steal a pitch here or there.
I could not agree more with that. I was just going to say, you might steal a strike. What? You might make a pitch a strike that was going to be a ball 1 out of every 12 balls you frame correctly.
Yeah, if that.
And that's just one. That's just one strike. Now you get catcher's interference. That's an automatic base right away. Like that's.
Yeah, you're just giving it to him. You're not even making him work for it.
Yeah. I put my 2 weeks in, worked it, and have started a new job since the last time
Yeah.
And it felt good. It felt good to leave a job
on good terms, huh?
Good terms. You know, my old bosses from FedEx both have texted me like on some friend.
Was any part of you like thinking, man, I really just need to raise a little hell before I go? This doesn't feel natural.
Well, not even raise hell. I was gonna voice some of the things like, man, that were frustrating.
Fight for workers' rights.
Not fight for workers' rights, but hey, dude, everybody there was so friendly on my way out, and we're like, man, it sucks that you're leaving, and you always have a spot here. And I was like, dude,
it does suck. I'm leaving. I know, I'm the best.
You feel bad. Yeah, well, I have been humbled right away because I'm going into something that I'm so bad at. Like, I'm just naturally just not a handyman. I'm so poor at it. Like, if you want to be humbled, join a job that you're just completely fucking stupid at. Yeah. And that's what I'm going through right now.
But you gotta have an open mind, a willingness to learn,
and that's what I want. Like, I don't want to. Like, I think I've made a habit of
just giving up on something,
quitting things that don't come easy to
naturally.
Me. Yeah,
sure.
Like and I will say, like, when it comes to handyman stuff, I'm like, dumb people are better at this than me. Does that make me dumb? Yes, it does.
It doesn't make you dumb. It just you never had to focus on it.
For instance, like today, I had to. I had the drill, and I was supposed to drill these screws into the frame. Like, one of the easiest is the truss, and I'm up on the ladder. Mm-hmm. Dude, I fucking stripped 2 of the drill bits, like, in the first 5 minutes. And it's like, gosh, damn, like, that's an easy job. And I guess I was just going in an angle.
A little bit sideways action.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they just had a guy that was in prison for 20 years. He was on the crew before me.
Yeah.
And he got in there, and he was...
But how many screws had he screwed in before he was in prison for 20 years?
But just nonetheless, I've started. And you know what though? I want to stick. I want to stick with this. I don't want to quit. I want to get good at something that I'm just horrible at. And that's my goal. I'm going in every day with the mindset of like, yeah, there's definitely. I mean, yesterday there was a situation where one of the main guys on our crew.
Situation.
Poison Ivy. Uh-oh. He's not there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He's not there. He's got the boo-boos.
Little boo-boo BB.
And he wasn't there to set this roof. I don't know how interesting this shit is, but for me, I was thinking I was just going to be on the ground. I was going to be on the ground handing shit up to people. Now I'm up there on 2x4s, legs shaking. I'm trying to set these fucking... So anyway, that's a little peek inside of what I went from, just delivering for FedEx every day and listening to my little podcast. And yeah, I had some gripes, but it was, gosh damn, it was easy compared to this.
Peaceful. Now you're Carpenter Xavier.
I'm in one.
You're Jesus in Nazareth, Xavier of South City, same thing.
I hope it gets better. Like, I hope I get better.
I'm sure it's week 1, right? Week 2? What is it?
I'm on week 2. So, it's been a fucking rainy ass mess all week.
Yeah. It's just like anything. Gotta get those reps in.
Yeah, but we can move on from that. That's just something new going on in old Xavier Biscuit's life.
Here in Xavier world.
What about you? What's going on in Rob's world?
Oh, balls deep into planning a wedding.
Ooh.
Right. So we got that coming up.
Have you not said on the pod yet?
I don't know. I think, we should assume that every one of our fans already knows that because they're such fans that they've obviously been on my social
And it
media.
just so happens that all of our fans also are in your direct contacts because it's like.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. There's clearly a much larger fan base than just the people in our contacts list. That's a silly statement you made there. So we've been doing a lot of that, planning the wedding, getting, like I said before, a lot of garden projects, yard stuff. Got our flowers in, annual flowers. Those babies are going to look great. Are looking good already, but they like all this rain. They're about the only thing that does like all this rain that we've been getting.
Jeez Louise.
Some more rain today, maybe. I tell you what, though, the other night we had out this way there was tornado warnings. They said they saw a rotation, I guess. 4:30 in the morning, the alarm on the phone goes off. You know what I mean? We all just, rock awake out of bed. All three of us in this house, and it's like, oh God, what's going on? Oh, tornado! Oh. And the tornado sound's going off. The first thing I do, I just go walk out on the back porch. Is that wrong? Right move? What do you?
I mean, personally, me and gosh, this could really come back to haunt me, but I just don't think any tornadoes are going to come ripping through Maryland Heights or
yeah.
like
well,
St. Louis City.
They
for that matter.
have right. Like there was the one that hit the airport. A handful of years ago, 10 years ago, probably now, on Good Friday.
Come through like a residential neighborhood like this?
Yeah. Remember we were delivering a lot of Crown C roofs out this way yonder.
Yeah, but there's been so many more buildings put up since then. Like, I feel like...
Yeah, but tornadoes still happen even if there's buildings there.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I've
never seen one in the city in my 31 years of life.
That's the arch effect. It's really the downtown.
The arch
effect.
is really keeping.
But we got that arch. It's the best tornado weather blocker that we did as a city. It was a really good move. Science was on that one.
I don't know the science behind that, but
well, they built it to block tornadoes. We don't really know the science behind it. They keep it super secret. So we're just layman's people, right? We're just the average dumb workers. They don't tell us these things. We just know that it works because we haven't seen tornadoes in the city. True. But out here, we don't know. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't know how my feelings are about being like totally shaken out of bed by like just a warning. Like, I say just a warning, but a warning that like within 25 miles there might be a tornado of me, and I have to then all of a sudden I have to deal with it. Like,
come down here.
Would I rather just be wakened by the wind ripping through the windows of our bedroom? Would I rather that wake me up or the phone make a crazy loud noise?
Which one? Ripped off your fucking house.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that would be worse. But it was really unsettling. I'll tell you that. Being woken up by that alarm the other night, I was like, ugh, this sucks.
What time you get up?
Well, normally, I'm up at like 7:30. But like, this was 4:30 in the morning, and we're just all like, beep, like just loud. Like all the phones did like the alarm sound. You know what I'm talking about? When your phone just sends you an alert.
Like you didn't ask. Alert.
Yeah, exactly. It sends you. You're in a gas station. You ever been in a gas station when everybody gets an Amber Alert? Or somewhere where there's a lot of people around you?
I've been somewhere where a bunch of people get an Amber Alert.
Like work or something, at a restaurant?
What do you say, no more Amber Alerts?
Well,
it's okay if
no,
you are.
No, I'm not saying that. But do we need to like add the loud, audible, like emergency tone?
Do you think Amber Alerts / tornado warnings? Do you think these things have actually helped? And like, do you think anybody's ever got a tornado warning that said, "Wow, I had no clue the weather was this bad that it's going to be a tornado until my phone just went off"?
Yes, yeah, of course that's the case.
You think that's happened?
Yeah, especially before the phones. But like since the phones,
before the phones,
people didn't know, so they needed the alert. Like I'm saying, they weren't.
If it was before phones, then how are they getting alerts to their phone? That was my whole thing.
Tornado sirens.
I'm talking about the phone alerts. You think anybody's ever got a fucking alert on their phone and said, "Wow"?
I mean, I knew it was going to rain overnight, but I didn't know that it was going to possibly be a tornado.
Do you think Amber Alerts have helped people?
They have to have. They wouldn't keep doing them if they didn't. Like, clearly that's helped people be like, oh, I'm looking at this car right now in front of me. It's a blue Ford Escape with whatever license plate number.
When you get an Amber Alert, do you stop and like
Do I stop?
read
No.
what it is?
I mean, you can see it. Usually the year, make, model of the car, it's real plain and obvious. And while I'm clearing it, I can see it. And I'm never like out and about and start scanning the horizon or nothing. So, I mean, maybe it doesn't work for me, but clearly, I guess it has to help, right? You know, they wouldn't keep doing it otherwise.
Yeah.
Is my thinking. And then what else have I been into? So we've talked about doing a lot of the wedding planning, planting a bunch of them flowers. The flowers have been liking that rain.
Yeah, that's how we got on this whole tirade.
Oh, we went to the cabin last weekend.
Little cabin fever. What happened there?
Well, it wasn't so much what happened there. It was on the way down. I had the animals with me, the dog, the pig. And the pig decided that she needed to take a piss. So she peed in the back seat of my car.
Oh,
so that was nice.
No.
I'll tell you this, though. Pig piss, cleaner than dog piss, cleaner than cat piss. Doesn't stink.
Oh, cat piss is the fucking worst. Isn't
Just
that
the worst.
ammonia?
Yeah, dude, don't even get me started on cat piss. Like,
that don't come out.
Not easy.
If
You gotta clean
a cat
it,
pisses
clean
on
it,
something,
clean
dude,
it.
like you'll have faint smells of that forever.
And you can clean it and clean it and clean it, and then the cat will still smell it and pee on it again, and it's just an
my
endless.
God,
it's a
dude.
vicious cycle.
I don't know why cats do like.
They're menacing little bucks, dude. Cats are like, they know when they're fucking with shit that they shouldn't be fucking with, and so they purposely do shit to be vindictive. I swear to God, cats are on some shit like that. Like cats would write a diss track about us if they could, but then also follow it up with but we love you and we're so cute, keep feeding us. And we would, because we were fucking idiots.
Yeah, like my parents have a cat, Pujols. It's like, I don't know how old, but for the past few years, she just decided she's done with kitty litter boxes. She just poops and pees.
Just where she pleases.
She's got a few spots. One of them's like on the steps going to the basement. So like, you know, they have these fucking pee pads on there that they clean all the time. And I went over there to feed the cats one time and she had pooped on the pee pad. So I went to step over it, stepped on the other pee pad, which ripped off the stairs. Boop, there I go, flying in the air.
Man.
Fucking cat food everywhere. And then this weekend, while somebody's house sitting for, you know, because we were all at Sarah's wedding, it happened to the person over there that was doing it, the exact same thing. Going down there with the 4 cats, stepping over, foop. And it's like, dude, what do you do? What do you do?
I don't know, man. I think we just gotta, I don't know. It's tough because I'm like, just get rid of these fucking cats. But then you look at them like, oh, but they're fucking cute. And then they gotta get a home. And then it's like, oh, you abandoned this animal. So it's a two-way.
You can't teach a cat a lesson.
No.
Unless it's like a permanent one. Which, like, you know, like there's no way to be like, hey, what you're doing is fucking wrong and will be punished.
Yeah,
like,
because all they do is become more vindictive, usually, in my experience.
Like, it's not like a dog. No. And they feel real guilty and they look sad and then you get sad.
And then you get sad. That's how it does go with the dogs. That's for sure. Had
you got
gigs.
notes over there?
No, just trying to look back through some stuff on my phone and jog any memories.
Yeah, maybe I should do the same because I'm like, man, what in the...
Oh, we went, we saw Desi finish her marathon.
She
Congrats.
did.
Shouts out
Desi, my girlfriend.
For finishing the full marathon. Something that I couldn't even think about doing in my sleep.
Cramping up 7 miles in and still finishing it like a warrior. So
Straight
shout
up
out
fire.
Des.
Straight up
Hell
fire.
yeah. And then she graduates with her master's Friday, 2 days from now.
Just
so
shitting
she's
on
doing
us.
big things.
She's just shitting on us all.
Yeah.
Making us look bad.
But so good for her. Shout out to Des. Love you.
No big deal. We're doing a 5K tomorrow night. Yeah.
Ooh.
So, I mean, full marathon, 5K,
Well, it's all
basically the
relative.
same. Basically the same.
5K to you will probably be just as hard.
You think I'll be cramping up? I'll be cramping up about 400 meters in.
Have you done any training?
Training.
Are you going to run the whole time?
Oh.
You didn't run the whole time last time. You did the whole
Define
sprint
run.
walk. You did
I
some
don't
fucking
even know.
UCLAs.
I didn't plan.
I did say when
This.
I ran my 5K, I trained for it, and I was proud of myself because I broke 9 minutes. I was like...
9-minute miles?
Yeah, I was at 8 something.
That's nice.
Which, for me, in my 230-pound ass, I was happy with. Because when I first started training, I couldn't even run on fucking 2 miles. I got 1.5 miles, which is around kind of that park, and
Yeah.
which I haven't vaped like since then, but I was vaping back then.
Yeah. No, I don't know. My lung capacity is probably not so high these days. We'll see what happens. It's casual, a little 5K. You know, I don't think it's nothing too serious or anything like that. So I'm not too worried about it. We'll see what happens. I'll recap you next week. Find out next week.
I want to show you live on
episode.
somebody. Now you got to see this. I'm going to show you live on my phone. Sarah got this as a wedding present with no card on it.
Okay.
I'm going to hand you my phone. Press play. I think we know who it is, but I think you'll come to the same conclusion. But fucking weird. So Bob's looking at a video right now that my sister had sent the family.
Press play.
Somebody had
This
sent. Yeah.
This is a wedding present.
Yeah, from her. She sent it to
It looks like a bunch of DVDs.
Yes. What kind of DVDs are
and
those?
there are no specific cases, even like they've all been pirated. And there's some
there's some,
wifey. There we go.
There's some real like DVDs that weren't pirated.
No, I know that.
But what Bob's looking at right now is a whole collection.
So this seems. You want to describe it?
Go ahead.
It seems as though an entire box of stag and porn, which is the same thing. Wow. I mean, weird.
This is a wedding gift. Somebody that Sarah invited paid for their.
You think this wasn't just accumulated for this wedding? No way.
No, it was like a person's collection that they decided to gift.
They just said this would be a perfect wedding gift. What the fuck?
The creepiest thing.
What the hell?
And
they didn't send a card. Here you go. I'll hand you your phone.
They didn't put their name on that. No.
I'm so confused.
I mean, like there's at least 30 DVDs and
more than that. There's
So my sister sent that. She said she bleached her hands after that.
Yikes.
But now we made a conclusion of who that is.
I mean, like I have my suspects, right? But I'm not out here trying to dox people for giving away a box of porn as a wedding gift. They're probably like, "Oh, this will be a funny joke."
Now there was a family member of mine who we came across their porn collection more than once throughout my childhood.
Oh no!
And that's the name that's
assumed that they said, "Well, here's your wedding gift."
I don't think. I think that it was.
Like a joke,
is it a wedding? Yeah,
he'll be like, "Oh, here's your box of porn
if you're not
back."
putting a name on it. Like that's crazy though. Like
it's
to come
wild.
to a wedding with that.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm assuming that was wrapped up, and
sure,
like
the whole works.
Like
it would have been funny if she did like a birthday party and said, "We're gonna do things a little different. We're gonna open the wedding gifts here in front of all you guys."
Dude, I mean, like some of the names.
Some of the names.
Some of the titles of like the.
Oh yeah. The one that stuck out to me was something wifey. I was like, oh,
it was white wifey.
White wifey. Oh, that must be a modern take on ones. So, wifey, I feel like entered the culture lexicon.
But like
in the
you
last
said, that one.
5 years.
I mean, I just cannot believe that.
I mean, yeah, that's. Do they expect it back? That's what I'm saying. Like, because did they think it's a joke and they're like, oh, I'll get it back, or like. What
or they were like, this is the moment. Like, I've been saving this.
Because did they know you guys kept happening upon it?
But like one of them in here, like there is so much that there's even a case included with like.
Yeah, like a whole ass pamphlet.
Jeez.
The works. That's what, I'm so confused by that.
Yeah.
If it's a joke, it's a terribly executed joke.
And
it's not funny.
Name on it. It's just creepy then, right?
Weirdly
it's
bizarre.
already creepy if you put your name on it, but it's like then you're just kind of claiming like this was a gag gift, like I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like, but the fact that you didn't put your name on this gift, it just like makes it really weird.
It makes it super bizarre. I have suspicions too, but like I said, I just don't know how. Yeah. There you go.
Like,
we'll just do that. We'll take that to the bank.
That's what
I mean, that's the only sign.
That's what my dad said in the group chat. He said, "Seems like a
this kind of action from this person." Just bizarre. What does he think is going to happen? Like, what's the outcome? What in his mind? Like,
So Brant had a good idea that I should text this person and say, "Oh, that was so funny. Was that you?"
Sure.
Gas it up. Like, I thought that was hilarious.
Brant's good at alternative egos or not egos, but alternative.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he was the one who like
he knows
also,
how to come up with schemes to get people to tell him what he needs to hear.
Yeah, like he was the one who said that. I mean, I don't know. Like this is getting
yeah.
With the whole, but some questions around. And this is a whole weird topic to get into on the.
So maybe you text him, and
but
he
also had a good idea with something else too. Yeah,
and you text him, you say that was so funny, man.
Yeah,
just wait for his reaction. Yeah, I thought that'd be hilarious. Like, dude, that was fucked up.
Yeah, I could do it live on air, but
was yeah, that's weird.
No, but it was cool. It was cool.
So it's just your guys' family that knows about that gift right now.
Well,
like I mean,
in the thousands of people that are going to hear.
I mean, in our huge army of fans.
Yeah,
but they don't know your whole extended
family. I didn't even
family.
tell Brendan, which I'm hoping Brendan learns this through the podcast. That'd be pretty cool.
He's just one of our many generals. I'll count our OG fans as our army.
I'm gonna call Brendan out on the pod too because my sister is getting a $100 charge because he threw up on the shuttle. Oh. So I don't know if you
Brendan
know.
Butler.
I don't know if you know that, Brendan. But
even worse, he listens. He's like, "Oh, what the fuck? Now I got this $100. I didn't even know I threw up."
Oh, he
Jesus
probably knew
Christ.
he threw up.
Guys got after it, huh? Where was the shuttle to and from? I thought it all
From the venue to the hotel.
Oh,
now,
okay.
I and a few of like the family, we stayed at Airbnb that was on the premises.
That's nice. Yeah.
Now we were supposed to do an after party, but man, it was like 11:30, and I was gassed.
I gotta say about it, some of those weddings you get after it.
I don't know how. I never even got that tanked. I feel like I kept it pretty good all day. You know, I was in the groom's party. We got there at like 10:30, and
Yikes.
I was drinking some Crown on the Rocks, watching
Getting
the
after
Cardinals lose to the fucking White Sox in the process, and.
What a weekend. What a team. What a town.
Oh, I think the Cardinals probably haven't won since the last time we've recorded. That's been about a month.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a shame there's no way we can find that out.
It's awful.
It's a tough time to be a baseball fan in this town.
It's a tough time to be a sports. Oh, Bannister, the Blues coach, but I don't know how much we're going to talk St. Louis sports on this. We don't really, but that's happened.
We'll wait for the feedback from our large audience.
I'm trying to think of anything I could say today that's going to piss people off because I got quite the reactions to our. And let me double down on this take. It was a disappointment. We did record during it.
It was a disappointment. What are we? You're being very vague.
I'm talking about the eclipse. I was getting texts after that. People were pissed. You know. People were pissed that I said,
and then
don't waste your money.
I will say we weren't in totality where we were at, so it's a different experience when you're not under a total eclipse compared to.
I was in totality. I was
totally not into it.
I was 100% unimpressed. And if we was sample size, your soon-to-be stepson, he came from a class of what, fourth graders?
Yeah.
None of them were into it.
And again, they weren't in totality. We weren't in totality, so it wasn't going to be as cool as if you were in totality.
Now,
but stand on your takes.
I am going to stand on that. And it was compared
stand on that business.
And we're getting pretty Brendan-centric here, but it was Brendan who texted me, and he was comparing it to
called out.
He asked me if I would go if I had the money and I had the wherewithal, not the wherewithal, but what, if I had the finances to go to a Super Bowl, would I? And I said, yeah, definitely. Like, if I had the financial means, like why wouldn't I go to the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, that's your thing. Some people would think that's stupid, he said, and probably so. Not stupid, but some people definitely don't have an interest in the Super Bowl.
Right.
But like, there's an investment.
And then
that I'm
they'd be like,
all
the
year.
Super Bowl happens every year. The eclipse is like whenever the eclipse is.
But it's completely different. Like, you can track, I'm following football. There's 17 weeks. There's a bunch of things leading up to the playoffs. There's fantasy drafts. You're betting on it. All this stuff that goes into it.
Yeah.
Something that you can follow and watch the trends, and it all accumulates to this big pageantry and the commercials and the halftime show. I mean, it's That's a whole what for? And it's like, it's feasible. You're understanding what you're watching. And now, granted, there's a little sliver of like totality that, man, if I was there, maybe I would have blown away. Maybe I would have fell back in my chair during the podcast.
Knock your socks off.
Fly off. Yeah. And that didn't happen. So maybe I will keep an open mind if that ever happens. Maybe it would
get your chance for that totality.
I'll be chasing fucking eclipses the rest of my life. I'll be the guy.
2044, Nick's traveling to North Dakota and said, I gotta see this shit.
Yeah.
I need the spirituality in my life.
So I just wanted a call back on that because I haven't got to address that I still stand by that. I tripled down on it. I think it's worse now.
Yeah.
I almost forgot it even happened.
The eclipse. Because we only saw part of it here. That's why you forgot.
Oh my God! You're saying part of it, like we had a 1 quarter. It was like 98%.
Yeah, but I'm still telling you, I remember being in the totality right during the last one we had 5 years ago. Right? We had one where we did get totality in St. Louis.
Was it one of the top 25 moments of your life?
I mean, it's hard for me to say.
You're thinking about this?
Yeah, it's hard for me to sit here.
Top 25? It didn't make my top 400.
The first time through when it was in totality?
I do remember that.
There must have been something else going on and you weren't paying attention to the stuff around you because it was totally a bizarre happening.
But top 25? Wow.
Well, what else is huge going on? Like 25 things I was talking about? I mean, like a lot of things have been memorable in my life, but that was like one that I know that I'm not going to really get to experience again. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Wow. Like there's a lot. I think it's all about just context of it, Like,
I guess I do remember exactly who I was with, where I was. I don't remember the year though.
It's
2018.
No.
2016.
16.
No.
It was 7 years, I think.
It's 2017.
2017 sounds right.
That has to be.
Yeah. Final say.
Because I was with Armani and Sarah, and that was like that time frame.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know the years, Rob.
I don't know the years. We try to figure them out, but then there's nobody here to look it up. We don't have the funds for a producer yet. Maybe that's what the GoFundMe could be for, to hire a real producer and then pay us.
We're years away. We will be recording this hopefully for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think anything is going to get in the way.
Nope. Should be good to go. A little bit more settled in now.
I did drive through a torrential downpour to get here today. So that,
dedication
has to be.
Well, what can you say? We're two guys that go through hell or high water to put together a strong show for our millions and millions of fans.
Through hell or high water, every 4 weeks we will. We've missed the last 3 weeks. We didn't go through any hell or high water. We were like, well, this sucks. But you bet on that fucking.
Oh, you're busy.
Week,
I'm busy too. Fuck. Well, we'll just do it. We'll get.
But on that 4th week, dude, I would have ran here if I had to. If they shut the highways down,
he was gonna get here. Because we have such a large appetite for our takes,
an insatiable appetite.
Yeah, it's hard to even know.
We will start writing things down, though. Like, we had a month and we thought of, 4 things that happened?
So far, there's plenty of time to think of poignant, important things that were going on in the last month.
It's just hard for me to pinpoint, like, what in the world has happened since April 8th?
We got protests on college campuses, right? Like, that's a thing I guess people are talking about these days, maybe.
What's this going on now? What's this about?
Oh, I just opened up Pandora's box because I don't totally know what it's about. They're,
I'll pull it up on the fly. You keep talking.
The college kids, I'm pretty sure, are protesting.
Locally here, I see, like, WhatsApp.
Yeah. They were part of a nationwide effort of college campuses that had protests. And they're arguing in support of Gaza, if you will, saying that Israel is coming down on them too hard and whatnot, basically. So just the standard college kids asking war to stop without totally knowing the picture or not caring.
I heard Israel's listening.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised. They're probably part of our
Israel is like
big fan base.
No, I'm sure Israel's listening, right?
Oh, to the protest, not
like,
our podcast.
They're like, fuck, they're
But they
protesting
need to
over
get
in
in on the
universities
Sit
in
Talk and
America.
listen.
We're going to stop this immediately.
We saw some college kids were a little angry.
We
We should cut this
look,
war out.
here we go. Another hot take. We can piss people off again with this. What is that going to do? What you're protesting in universities throughout America, causing all this for what? Hopes that Israel hears you out. Israel doesn't give a shit. They're murdering a bunch of people in a whole gone war, and you think your little efforts over here is going to stop? When has that ever helped anything? People protested the Vietnam War. Did that stop? Is the American government going to be like? And this at least was in America.
Well,
that's my take.
It is a take. Yeah, that's a take.
You let me know. What is it going to help?
First off, I would say that protesting has always done something. It's not always about like we're going to protest and that's going to make it instantly stop. It's about bringing awareness to it.
That's
always what protesting has always been about, and that's what happened in Vietnam, and that's what happened with civil rights, and that's what's happening with this
instance,
war.
though, is it going to help?
Who's to say? I mean, it's making us talk about it in a sort of kind of way. Like I'm uneducated about it, and I don't really. I don't have the time or the energy to be educated about it right now because there's a lot of other things in life that I'd rather dedicate my time to right now. So, you know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying what's going on over there is, like, obviously it's awful, and that whole thing is just, it's
so
tragic.
their whole point is they're just trying to get people to talk about it, right? And be aware that there's whatever bad things going on because then they're like, oh, if enough people are aware and they'll call action, blah, 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 blah. Because you got to say, like, you know, the United States did feel pressure to leave Vietnam, right? That's why we pulled out of there before we ever had control of the whole country. And that's why there's a North Vietnam and not North Vietnam, but you know what I'm saying? That's why there is the problems that there is still even over there in the Koreas and stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll back take that. But just to me, I'm like, man.
I just don't, life is only so long and there's only so much time in a day, and there's a lot of people around me that I love and care and want to spend time with.
You do not care about anything going on over there.
It's not that I don't care. It's I don't care to spend time caring. You know what I mean? Like, I want people
It's not that you don't care, but you don't want to spend time caring.
You heard me. It's not that I don't care. I just don't have enough time to spend caring, if you will.
Sounds like a bunch of word salad.
Well, I'm cooking up the Caesar as we speak. Tableside. Tableside Caesar coming through the microphone.
Yeah, you might be getting a job down in Bermuda.
Could be. Well, maybe I'll bring the protests out there. And get the people of Bermuda on board with.
If our obscure podcast isn't enough, we're going to also
it's not obscure.
Make constant references to an HDMI 2 radio station.
Just keep it even more like niche. That's the thing these days. It's not about the overall numbers. We know that we have large numbers, but the general.
Why wouldn't we?
The passion that each one of our supporters has is just top notch, and so they can't live without us.
I do want to make a record. I do not support what's going on over there in Israel. That is not what my point was.
Yeah, I
just was asking what the protest here in Washington, WashU, was going to do.
It's just all about bringing attention
the awareness,
to it.
That does make sense.
But when it comes down to it, like, there are rules to protesting, and sure, they're like, well, we have to push the rules of protesting to like get heard and be on the news, and then that's what ends up happening. So it's like, it's
I
this
get
constant
that.
back
I was
and
just
forth
talking about in America. Does Israel give a fuck what we're doing? Or are you talking about maybe
Israel cares? We've been sending Israel support.
The college students.
The college students of Israel
cares that college kids are protesting?
No, not really. I mean, they care that our government keeps supporting them. And so if they,
Now, it seems to me, though, that these same people that are probably protesting this, what do they want? Us to go over there and start a war? These are probably the same people that would be protesting war in the first place.
Who?
And people that are going to be protesting the violence going on over there. How do they suppose, like, if their end goal is to get the U.S. government involved,
Well, the U.S. government is involved.
Yeah,
That's their whole point.
And what do they want us to do?
And stop funding Israel.
Okay. Obviously, I don't know anything about this.
I mean, I don't really either. I just know that these.
Are we
I know
funding
these.
it? We're funding Israel.
Yeah, Israel is a ally for the United States.
Now, what
they
would
have
happen if we
oil.
stopped funding them?
Then they wouldn't be able to keep perpetuating war on Gaza and those people. Is my my guess of how it goes.
We'll revisit this next week.
No, we won't.
I will. I will do my research.
Do some research.
I'll bring it up.
I'm just saying, like, that's how it goes, right? That's the whole point. Is we have allies in the United States that we've supported, and then people are like, "Well, we can't keep supporting these allies. We're not. It's not our battle to fight." And then it's like, well, there's interest in supporting them, economic interest. The facts are, we're just getting closer and closer to a total global government any day. I say any day.
New world order.
It's not a new world order. You talk about...
It'll be a new world order.
It's not new. We did this after World War II.
Well,
We set up the UN.
Like
we were on our way. We were well on the way.
Relatively new in the grand scheme of...
Well, governments
the United
that are
States
relatively
is a pretty
new.
new country.
Yeah, and governments and hierarchies, those are all new if we want to talk about the history of humankind
And I am.
going back. It's good. I just started listening to an audiobook called Sapiens, A Brief Story of Humankind, and it's actually pretty interesting.
No, that sounds really interesting.
It gets into all that action.
I do like that.
And it talks about, right, that everything that we live in is just a perceived... Right, like it's
all fugazi.
It is. It's
Money's made up. The whole construct of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's bullshit. I think about that sometimes when I'm at work. God, this sucks.
It's all agreed upon fallacies, essentially, right? Like everybody has to buy in, and if you don't, then you get looked at as the oddball. It's interesting. I can't remember the exact details of how it was explained, but
we've created almost all of this.
We've created this monster. It's true. We've created all this for better and for worse.
And it's like, at what
because he talked about
at what point do you think
the average
in society being formed, do you think there was irreparable damage done that you couldn't reverse? Like,
money,
power,
not just money.
I think because there wasn't money. It's like power in general. Like,
yeah, and that power was made just totally by humans.
Yeah,
and then religion became used to get power and hold power and keep people in line with the social,
right?
The
like
perceived
leaders,
the perceived social order of things, like was built over time with all those things, religion, and people, gaining power because of religion, and then it was gaining power because of strength. Well, at first it was gaining power because of its raw strength, right? Like physical fights, like apes.
I know. How different is it now?
Yeah,
quite different. I mean, like the biggest, strongest guy isn't just ruling the world anymore.
Yeah, not in a physical sense, but in a metaphorical sense.
Yeah,
the biggest, strongest guy, country, whatever, they're the ones they're ruling, quote unquote, things.
Yeah, but I mean, so many things. Like you could go back thousands of years and find like kind of a similar setup to how society works.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I recommend that book. It touches on a lot of that
Sapiens?
stuff. Sapiens, A Brief
I do
History
love shit like that.
of Humankind.
We can kind of transition this into that kind of podcast, and I'd be just cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, it talks about the average hunter-gatherer society. Most people spent like 5 to 6 hours a day working, out foraging, and then they would hunt once a week, usually, if that.
What would they do with all their downtime?
Fuck around,
record podcasts,
fuck.
Just a lot of
make
fucking.
Babies. Mostly it was just hanging out. Yeah, being social. That's what
you think?
One of the first things that humans developed was an imagination and like a
that's what separates
quote unquote
us.
Gossip, like just hanging out, telling stories, and then like that's why for the longest time it was always like the biggest insult to a man or a guy or anybody was like insulting their position, their like or whatever, calling into their power, their weakness. So, and that was
the
all
job title.
It wasn't about what you thought of yourself. It was about what everybody else thought about you. Was how you were thought of like you could be outcast, right? And that was they didn't care about.
And that still exists today.
Yeah, but it's more. We've more supported the individual today. People are like, don't worry about what other people think. Be true to yourself, right?
They say
that's
that,
what we do.
but perception is reality quite often.
Yeah, but there's still, even when you're an outcast, there's still a group of outcasts that get together, and you have. I'm just saying, it's much different today, like, you know, than it used to be in social order of people. Like, you know, people. If you were really concerned about what everybody else thought about you, I guess is what I'm saying. Even more so than we are today. Like, that was the original state of things. You were worried about, like, oh, they don't think I'm a good hunter. Let me show them, even if it is that you die, like, while trying to show them. It's just, that's whatever. Somehow that worked out of all that free time that we had, all that time to gossip and talk about each other and be like, oh, that, you know, that guy over there, he fucking killed a wolf with his bare hands. Yeah,
and now, like, and like humans like make up shit, just they make up problems to have. They make up these constructs, and then the egos get involved. It's like, you know, even if something is like going back to the infamous Tupac Biggie, West Coast, East Coast, like this is all, it's just made up shit that people are getting shot and killed over. For what?
I mean, that's
some bullshit ass territorial pride, and that's all just made up. Like, I mean, what's it matter?
We're talking about hundreds of years of wars and bloodshed with the Crusades.
Yeah, for what?
You know, over religion.
Man-made shit.
Yeah, over man-made, you know, constructs of what life should be and who's ruling us and who put us here. And it's like
people get so bought in, they'll kill.
It's true.
They'll form their whole lives around this.
Yeah.
For man-made things. Man-made thoughts and constructs.
But it's really only within the last 150, 200 years that the scientific revolution, if you will, has taken a foothold. Like, obviously, there was looking into sciences before then, but, like, things have obviously accelerated over the last 200 years in a way that they never have in humanity.
That we know of.
Sure, okay, if you want to go into the whole simulation theory and think that...
Not even simulation, I'm just saying, like, we don't know.
We could have been an AI built by another form.
Well, that's a whole other thing, but I'm just talking about as far as, like, I mean, they've had very advanced technology to be able to do some of the stuff they've done. Like, throughout history.
In ways of, like, what? You're talking pyramids and such?
Yeah.
You don't think that just like human ingenuity was able to get together that stuff?
I mean, I do think they were, but like they had different kinds of technology. I think we're just used to this electrical, like all the kind of like shit that we have. But like, there's probably stuff that they were doing back then that was pretty impressive that we wouldn't be able to do now. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to get into a deep alien who did this rabbit hole.
What do you think? What do you think that they did that we wouldn't be able to do now, and why wouldn't we be able to do it?
I'm not saying.
Well, that's what you just said.
I'm not saying like they wouldn't be able to do, but we wouldn't be able to do it the way they did. I don't know. There's no proof out there.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
we could have had more advanced civilizations that have been wiped away due to the Ice Age and all kinds of shit. Like, we don't know. Things could have restarted.
Yeah. Well, there's no history of the things restarting necessarily. There's a lot of history of, you know, humans migrating across the whole globe, and then like if there was like a lot of what killed out indigenous people was other tribes of people coming in from foreign lands and bringing diseases, right? New sicknesses in with them, and sometimes
murdering and burning down whole entire villages.
A little bit of genocide.
Now, that doesn't happen as often.
Now, what's interesting in that book they was talking about, there was 5 different versions of Homo, you know, not sapiens, we're Homo sapiens, but then there was like Homo, different ones, like basically like humans.
Neanderthals.
Homo Neanderthal. It was like that.
I don't think that's the name, but I get what you're saying.
Neanderthal is like the short slang version of what it is. It's Homo something with a knee.
And there's few times Homo sapiens, there's a few cases where we procreated with those.
Yeah, they're saying that it's shown that could have happened a few times, or that it was likely that sometimes when those two paths cross, that they just would either murder each other because like they weren't attracted to them at all. They looked different, smelled different, it's like, imagine the difference between a horse and like a donkey. They're like in the same family, but like they don't want to breed together necessarily.
And Homo sapiens won. I like to
Homo
watch.
sapiens.
What's that?
Homo sapiens want other Homo sapiens, so it was more likely that
when they won. I said.
Oh yes, correct.
Yeah, out of all these,
and it's more likely that it seems more likely that as they encountered those other types of Homo, erectus families, that they either just killed them or just ignored them because they were like, oh, that's cover your eyes, children. Don't look at that beast. Extinct. Extinct.
Like just, they couldn't survive.
Yeah.
They were killed off.
They were killed off, or they didn't adapt, or they were killed in genocide because they were like humans but different enough. They were like, no, get rid of these guys.
Did they speak? Communicate?
I don't know. Probably if they did, it was likely different. Maybe they made some similar noises.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah, it's a good book. Like I said,
I wish I could go back and watch some of this stuff unfold.
Yeah, I guess. Would you rather travel back in time or forward in time if you could only choose one?
Would life be ruined? Like I feel like you could really.
You could come back to your.
Could you affect it, or are you just observing?
No, just observing. Let's not get super.
Yeah, because the whole butterfly effect shit's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, any movie that you watch with time travel, I'm like, nope, that would change something.
I don't know. The future's kind of. I don't know if I'd want to observe the future, just because we're going to experience it anyway. I feel like
we're going to experience our future. We're not going to experience.
Would you? That's what I'm
future.
saying. Would you want to experience your future?
No, I'm saying, would you rather be able to explore the far past or explore the far future? Just to observe.
Isn't time a flat circle anyway? And then eventually it meets.
I don't know.
Doubt it.
I doubt it.
Welcome back, or somehow I don't know how we got here, but I'm liking it.
Dodging Cardinals conversations and getting into the talk of humankind.
About the dawn of time to the distant future and everything in between. Does it meet up?
I don't know.
Will the time travel? How close are we to experiencing time travel? Could we develop AI smart enough to come up with a program for? And if it does, will we want that? There's so many questions.
More questions than answers, I'd say.
But
that's the idea of did we already make AI? Or not we, but was AI already made, and then we've remade itself into humans, and then now we're rediscovering it, or aliens on another planet dropped us off after they made us.
Yeah.
So we made this AI and it's sentient and it can think on its own. Let's put it onto another planet.
But I would love to go back to that question. I'd rather observe the past. I think if you get too far into the future, you really won't understand anything. Where if you observe in the past, you kind of be like, oh, that's where that started. And you can kind of see how it went from whatever you're looking at to where it is now and kind of relate to it. You might be in a fucking...
You don't think that if you go 4,000 years into the future from now that you'd be able to be like, oh, I can see why this is this because of what things were like in my time. The same way that you could go back 10,000 years.
Think about how different things were 4,000 years ago.
Yeah, I know. And the speed of things now.
Would be so foreign to us 4,000 years from now.
Yeah, things 4,000 years previous to this were so foreign. I think that people don't even think about that, but they really were. Yeah, so. But
you could see some of the foundations of what we know now being built then. I mean, how long ago was Jericho and the first ancient civilizations? That was before 4,000 years ago.
Oh yeah, I mean you had people living in that was
those mud huts.
So there was the big
Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia. So that was one of the.
What is happening though right now? What are we getting into?
Well, I'm saying so one of the big things that changed the way that humans lived, Homo sapiens lived, was going from being hunter-gatherer societies living in small clusters like tribes, right, to then agriculture, right? We learned how to control plants and then harvest seeds and harvest wheat. Those were some of the first things that humans were ever on record growing. And that's when we started having actual civilizations because they wouldn't travel to where things were growing seasonally like the tribes would. Hunter-gatherers would move and travel around as things were in season. When humans figured out how to harvest and control the land, right? And they're like, oh, it takes a lot of time and effort, so we need to set up camp here all year round. And, this is probably, what were they saying in that book? 15,000, 12,000 years ago that we started doing agriculture, growing our own crops and wheat and shit. And so that's when the start of like quote unquote civilization really started to develop, because people were living in more permanent places. They had these farms, they had these fields that they would grow in, year out. And so that's when all that kind of happened. And that's really when the rise of religion started too, was when we started living in these civilizations, because people would work and hope that crop would come through at the end of the year, because they know that if that crop didn't, that the whole next year would be hard for them and the whole little civilization, right? So they needed to hope in something to control the elements that were out of their control. So the rise of religion is really tied into agriculture too. Egypt and all that was one of the first agricultural civilizations. They figured out how to grow, wheat and pull water and haul it to the field. So they spent all their day working fields and hauling water to harvest crops. So I don't know. Maybe we made a wrong choice. Agriculture and growing our own food. Maybe we should have just kept in small tribes. Not as much work.
I just think naturally, though, that would never happen. I think that the human nature of like want more. You're always looking for the next big, best thing. How do I make this easier? Mm-hmm. And then how do I advance?
And that's what we said. We said we make hunting and gather easy by just growing the stuff our own damn self. And then we had a whole bunch of other problems that plagued us, right? Like drought and disease for the plants and things like that, and the stuff not growing, and then we're starving in that way instead of not being able to forage for it and not find it. It just got unlucky with the harvest that year. So it's like, sure, by solving some problems, we open up so many more other problems as humans, it seems like. So what have we done with telephones and cell phones, right? Like by making talking and communicating with other people and around us easier, it's opened up so many other problems with anxiety and stress and that kind of stuff. Like the average person, the average Homo sapien, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years only had a circle of maybe 100, 150 people that they might have come in contact with their whole life.
That's crazy to think about.
Think about how often you might come across 150 people in your life, in our lives now. And we have to deal with the opinions of way more than 150,000 or 150 people, 100 people. There's all people that can launch opinions at you. So it's like our brains just aren't hardwired for this shit. And they won't be for thousands of years.
Yeah, and then I feel like, the nature of all this is like you start to want to, it's, going back to the first episode we recorded, like everybody just starts group thinking and man. But we've already been down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But
go back to episode 1 if you haven't yet. I'm sure that's where everybody started. Big fans. They clearly listen from second 1 to second now. No, the story of humankind is super interesting. I've always been fascinated by it.
I've gone through some YouTube rabbit holes on that. And,
I've done
ancient civilizations.
Yeah, I've seen a couple docu things on like History Channel and some other stupid ones or whatever. But this one's an audio book, like I said. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's hard to not pay attention, but sometimes, so it's like a British guy narrating it. And you're like, oh, that's a cute little British voice, a little British vernaculars you're using there. Oh, you get distracted. You're like, oh, that was actually an interesting thing that he was saying. I was too busy paying attention to his verbiage there. I liked his
brilliant.
Brilliant. It's true. So what else? Where are we at?
I mean, we've covered everything from a month ago to the beginning of time. So I really don't know.
Well, and that means there's only the future to talk about. We got Mother's Day coming up. Any big Mother's Day plans?
No, unfortunately not. I mean, my mom's birthday was my mom's birthday was on my sister's wedding. Now, was that intentional or like how did that come to pass? I don't think that had any. I mean, we did like.
Did Sarah clear it with your mom? Be like, hey, we're thinking about doing our wedding on your birthday. Are you cool with that?
I don't think she cleared it, but it's like my mom was. It's
really?
her 54th birthday. What's my mom gonna be like? No, that's my birthday.
Jamie and I chose a date that's the day after her mom's birthday, and she texted her mom and was like, hey, we're thinking about doing our wedding the day after your birthday. Would that be okay with you?
No,
So
yeah,
I don't know.
think
It's
Sarah
just
gave a shit.
different strokes for different folks.
Now, we did sing happy birthday to my mom at the wedding, and Sarah had like a cake brought out and shit for my mom.
There you go. See?
So it was a nice little moment.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it had anything to do with my mom's birthday. It just happened to be a good weekend.
They just like
it's a
the
Saturday.
5-5 date.
Maybe 5-4.
Oh.
Cinco de Mayo was the next
Yeah,
day,
you're
which
right.
is 5-5.
Fucking read a calendar.
But so yeah, I guess I'll have my mom's birthday will be every day on their wedding and anniversary, and the next day Cinco de Mayo.
True. She taking his last name?
Yeah, she already did.
There you go.
I already changed it on my phone too. Sin tiempo. That's it.
That's it.
But yeah, that's why I was,
not a cookie crumbles.
and that's why I was saying like Drake and Kendrick is the biggest thing, because even during my sister's wedding, my phones go out getting text messages saying like, oh, another one dropped.
I know that they were going at it over this weekend. I guess I don't know how many songs in total I should have listened to.
There's a lot.
I think I listened to like 2 or 3 Kendrick songs, and then there's like 1 7-minute Drake song.
There's a few Drake songs. He did like the
Family
push-ups.
Matters. Was that the one?
No, he did the one his original response where Drake was kind of winning in the beginning, where he basically was like, oh yeah, movie. He's like, drop and give me 50, and basically saying like Kendrick's Taylor Swift's bitch. Push-ups, it's called.
I guess I missed that one.
That was like the big one that kind of got Kendrick to respond so harshly.
I just don't know where they, sometimes I see these on Spotify, sometimes they're not on Spotify.
YouTube.
And I'm just I do not listen to my music off of YouTube. I just don't.
I don't get why.
The quality is dog shit half the time.
All right, but
and I'm not paying
to a rap beef. Are you listening to it for the quality?
Yes. If I'm listening to music, I'm listening for quality just as much as I'm listening for content, dude.
I mean,
100%.
these are just disses.
That doesn't mean shit.
I don't
need
think
it to sound
music's
good.
that important.
I need it to sound good.
Well, I could tell you, like, a couple of these releases have happened so quickly that I don't even think they bothered mixing them or anything. So even if you got the Spotify version,
I mean, the ones that I've listened to still sound quality. They sound, pretty good. But like I said, though, if it's on,
but then Drake's
he's only
got shot up the other day.
He only got Family Matters on Spotify. Drake.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many more. I mean, there's a whole.
And I'm not paying for no YouTube Premium. I'm just not doing it. I got Spotify Premium. That makes me happy.
I do have YouTube Premium.
And that makes a difference, I'm sure. That makes a difference.
Kendrick and Drake. They have a whole, like, people are breaking down timelines and everything.
So, I mean, like I said, I know that there's been a lot of back and forth. And there's been, like, two or three Kendrick songs that I've listened to. But I saw that. Yeah, who's shooting up Drake's house?
They said it was his security guard. I don't know. I didn't really read
his
into it.
His security guard?
Yeah, I guess maybe turned or something. I don't know. And, there's allegations of OVO having a bunch of sex traffickers in the crew, which those are some serious allegations. And
that's some serious
everything.
allegations.
Like, I think we haven't recorded since everything came out with Diddy. And Diddy getting arrested and all that shit. Did we?
We talked about Diddy on the run a little bit.
Yeah, we did. I mean,
but we didn't know because we're going to learn about Diddy and we'll get back to Diddy later.
Yeah, and I feel like everything's just ever since Cat Williams' interview on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay. I mean, geez, that seemed to be
whose interview?
Club Shay Shay. Cat Williams was on Shannon Sharp's podcast.
Okay,
and are you familiar with this at all?
No, I mean I know these people.
I mean, Cat like that like took over. Like that was like the biggest thing in pop culture for a good week. Was this
I remember people talking about Cat Williams. When was that?
This was like before 2 months ago.
Yeah, he was popping
Cat
off
Williams
about somebody.
came out. Well, he about everybody. Like he was basically. But during this, Cat Williams even said like, oh, what goes on at Diddy parties, and basically was like making all these allegations of a bunch of fucked up shit that goes on in Hollywood.
Yeah,
and all these other people. And that kind of seemed to be the domino effect of these things happening
to pass. Do you think it's just the in vogue thing for people to just be throwing it out there that everybody's tied up in this?
No,
or do you think there's like
a lot of truth to it?
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of. I think right now, in my personal, I think a lot of people at the top and controlling media, and there's a lot of shady shit going on. I mean that you see that with the whole Epstein Island thing, I don't know if I feel like the curtain is getting pulled back slowly.
I guess we'll see.
Now I do think that there's a lot of conspirators out here to make that more than it is. Mm-hmm. Like not more than it is, and that
but there are things that
there's people that think they get so caught up in it they think every single thing is
everything's connected to everything.
Yes,
and like it's tough because there is obviously instances where we know things were going on that we don't know the full truth behind, and that we've been lied to from the highest authority many times over. So that does give people a sense of distrust, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that everything is like an evil conspiracy always.
Yeah, because I've thought about that too. Is like if everything was a conspiracy, all these things are just distractions to keep us away from what they're really doing. No, that's a lot. That's a lot. That just seems a little far-fetched. I do think that rich and powerful people do fucked up shit and can get it covered up because of all the power and money they have.
100%.
But I don't think they're, choreographing these huge, large schemes and, football and basketball. All these games are just, it's all predicted and all just a big old ruse to keep our eyes away from, because no, I mean, not.
But
that's where people go.
They do, and I honestly, that's almost. It's like that's been how it's went, but it's not intentional. Like these people that are rich and powerful have figured out how to get more rich and powerful, and it's by keeping people occupied with entertainment and media that they'll spend time and money on. Right. Social media requires people to spend time on it, and that generates money for the people that are then responsible for providing that platform. Sports leagues provide entertainment, so everybody that watches those leagues provide income for the people that put those leagues on. So it's like, in a way, it's true that these people are like using these things, but it's not like as a cover-up. They're using these things to get more wealthy, and that's causing a bigger gap between the haves and the have-nots, right? Yeah,
and I'm talking about like I've fallen into, YouTube rabbit holes in the past where everything's Illuminati and all this shit. And,
everything's Illuminati.
But back then I was doing a lot of Adderall, a lot of uppers, and you can kind of get that like, amphetamine brain going.
For the YouTube rabbit hole, you think?
Yeah.
Just
like the whole, like, everything's Illuminati, everything's, everything's so cynical. There's nobody that does anything for the good of being good.
Yeah. I agree with that. Everybody's got agendas in this world because you have to, otherwise you
I was saying that sometimes you can get into that, but I don't necessarily think that. Like, you should not. I feel like the world would be a better place if we stopped thinking everybody was so cynical and everything was just to benefit. Like, sometimes people can just do selfless things.
I mean, that is true. Definitely.
I think more people should. I think this world is actually trending in the opposite direction, though. I think people get more and more selfish, and more people are out to get me. And I'm not going to do that. What would benefit me?
Well, remember, I was saying, right? We're turning the tide of being more individualistic as people and humans than we ever have been. Being like, all right, well, people can be whoever they want to be, even if it doesn't benefit the greater good. Just let them be who they are, because that's what we have to do. I just disagree
with that ideology.
What?
I think sometimes you should do things outside of your comfort zone, outside of your own benefit, and not think, what is in this for me? Like, that's just...
You should, but definitely it's becoming lesser and lesser. You're right.
That's just going to make the world a darker place. But
lonely. It's like there'll be more people than ever on this planet, but it'll be lonelier than ever.
Los Lonely Boys.
How far is heaven? You know the one.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think we've covered quite a bit at this point. I think this might be a good time to put a bow on everything. And
I know as soon as I shut it down, I'm going to think of something that was poignant.
But we'll start writing down, or maybe we can even text, just like not about things, but like text each other back and forth.
Little keynotes, things that we want to make sure that we remember to bring up and to talk about.
I'll make.
I tell you, more times than not, it's usually little pet peeves, little things that get under my skin.
Yeah.
As I'm out and about in the world,
fraternizing
we went
with
like society.
An hour and 20 minutes today with really nothing.
Hell, I don't know. Not long enough for as long as we were gone. No.
No, but Yeah, I know
I'm
people
sure
have
the
heard
people
about it.
are very entertained, and
Thanks.
they're gonna be out there hitting the streets and spreading the good word. We're gonna raise this up from the ground like religion. We're gonna need people.
We need Jehovah's Witnesses out here for sit, talk, and listen.
A little door to door.
And wear a fucking suit, you heathens.
Yeah.
We
When you're
wanna be
talking to people
represented.
about our podcast,
Wear
we
a
need you to be
fucking
dressed
suit.
to the nines. Because we're nothing but top class here.
As I'm doing this in my
B-Town menus.
Carpenter Union shit on right now, got dirt all over me.
That's all right. It's a good look. Look like a hardworking man.
Well, when you're talking about this, like, if I was going out and talking about this podcast, I would have fucking taken this off and I would have been in my Sunday best.
And that's just so that people know that we're good-hearted people. It's not that we're not average, everyday people and can't get along with them and not understand them. We can. We're regular, average Joes ourselves. But we just need them to know that we're better than them. So we're going to wear suits. What? What did I say? What did I say?
I'm not better than anybody.
What? I didn't. That's not what I said. I didn't say
But
that.
I don't follow that sentiment. But I will say that I'm looking forward to being back more regularly. Thank you for sitting, talking, and listening to us and with us.
Peace.